I feel what you're saying. I hurt like you hurt. I said and I thought about it all weekend too. I was asked a million questions about it. I think there is a process now that's going to have to take place. And Charity, I applaud you for saying what you said and saying if this is what we're facing, let me have a seat at the table. You know, several have come to me and said that. If this is what we have to do, let me help. I would rather it be a success than a failure. That is the absolute most wonderful attitude that you could have towards it. It doesn't mean that we have to like what took place. And there are those that are still, even saying tonight, it's not over yet. There's still obstacles that committee faces, that the plan faces. They were all, it was mentioned up here, not only by board members, but by council members too. Whether they supported the plan or didn't support the plan, that it needed work. So I was told the other day also that don't give up. Stay involved. If it's going to work, it's going to work with everybody lending their best self. What I've heard, and I know everybody hurts from it. I know the teachers hurt from it. I know that some administrators hurt from it. But I talked to a couple of teachers late Friday, and they said, Bert, we went in there and we just gave them our best face possible, and we had the best day we possibly could, and I was there for my kids, and not everybody saw students on Friday, but those that did. So that made me feel good that those people, even though they're hurting inside, they still went out there and they did a heck of a job, the best job they could. I hope they continue to do that. I'm on the fence about, is it over, right? But I'm also have to look to the future. Hey, if it's going to work, it's going to take more than has been involved up to this point. So please still continue to come. Tell us how you feel. That's why we're here. I'm not going to deny anybody the opportunity to speak and tell us how you feel. We're going to have to, continue to do that. We still have work to do. We still have work to do as the Covington City School System. I didn't see anybody walk out of here on Thursday night saying they're giving up on the next couple of years of CHS, Jeter Watson, and Edgemont, nor the people that work here. We're not. I'm not giving up on you. Haven't given up this far. So I have not quite 2 years left, and I'm going to be here for you. So if they want to keep me on after the fact, that'll happen when it happens. But I know as far as being appointed to this board, have roughly a year and a half left. So this is where I'm going to be. Here for you guys.
So, could I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I did not speak Thursday night, as Mr. Bennett told me I didn't, but I did send our board a letter dated September the 8th saying that I was not in favor of a joint school system. I am not a voting member of the team. I did what the board asked me to do for many, many meetings and did what I thought was my best job, as Mr. Brown pointed out. I gave my best ability to everything I did, and I continue to give my best ability to this job. On Friday morning, early, I sent an email to my staff. I sent one Thursday night saying that we are a strong school division because of our staff. We are a good school division, and I told them not to look to themselves as the reason this didn't happen, but we will continue to do our best for our students. until we are told we won't be doing this. And I do feel strongly that I was not in favor of a joint school system. Every board member got that letter. I don't know where we're going in the future. I've worked a long time in education. I think I've worked to the best of my ability for 45 years for this school division, and I'm a graduate, and I'm a proud graduate, and I will continue to do my best until someone says you don't belong here anymore. But I do want the public to know that the board got my letter, and I hope somebody will verify that they did get my letter, since I've been talked about this evening.
I will verify that we did receive Melinda's letter. And I just want to state, as I did Thursday, this was not a decision that the board took lightly. It's not. And I've heard many of you say over the weekend, you went home and you asked yourself some deep questions. Well, let me assure you, I did too. And not just on Thursday, but prior to that. We have been asking those deep questions for the past year. One thing I do commend this board for is that even though we saw things differently, we were able to respect one another. And I do have 3 years. I just was reappointed to the board. And I told myself this weekend, I am committed to make sure that what we saw in that plan, and we admit that there were some flaws to the plan, and there are some things that we have to look at, but I'm committed to making sure that we address those things, because I believe in Covington High School. I'm an alumnus of Covington High School. I come here, I walk these halls, I go in and visit the teachers, I look at our students, and we're going to make sure as a board, and the one thing that brought me comfort in reading the resolution is, listen, if you haven't seen the resolution or read it, please reread it, because there's some things in there that states if these things are not met, we can't go forward. We won't go forward. We're going to look out for what's at the best interest of Covington High School, the teachers, our administrators, our students. We're going to make sure, because it bothers me when someone thinks that we took this decision lightly. We did not. When I see students in our school, now most of us as adults fear public speaking, but when students come and they step to that podium and they speak out, I commend the teachers, the staff that we have to build that type of character in our students. So I just want to assure you, and I love what you said, Mrs. Hale. We want you to have a seat at that table. And you know, one other thing I'm going to tell you, because I have had the awesome opportunity to work with both school districts, I will say the joint committee brought the best in the subcommittees. And that helped me, because I know a Dr. Furman. She's going to look out for Covington School. I know, I'm trying to think of the one in the county, Sherman, Mr. Sherman. I know Ms. Huff. I know these people. And I do believe we are better together. But guess what? And like Mr. Baker said, I read all comments over the weekend as well. Mr. Crozier voted yes, but he also said that the plan has to be solidified. And that's all I'm saying too. Listen, we were appointed to this board, and I believe with all my heart We came because we believed in our school system. We believe in our students. We believe in our teachers. We believe in our administrators. And we will do what's best for our school. Thank you.
Erika.
I'll add, I think I can yell loud enough. I'll add just briefly to Ms. Hale's point of a seat at the table. The Joint School Services Committee had certain requirements that it had to meet in the state code, and in working that problem backwards, we basically asked ourselves, okay, here are the things that we need to show. So what subcommittees can we populate here and put some of the people from both school divisions and both governments, not just people that sat on the committee. How can we involve some of these other subject matter experts, educational professionals and the like? And of course the 5 subcommittee lists that we came up with were the subcommittees that would cover the material that we were required to show, but then also would go further than that and try to provide as much of a complete picture as we possibly could for what a new division would look like. And we came up with that narrow set of 5 subcommittees. Obviously, the business of running a school, much less putting 2 of them together, is much deeper than those 5 subcommittees. So it was our intention all along that should this come to pass, that we would then begin, one of the very first things we would do is start rolling up our sleeves, using a lot of the folks who had been involved in those subcommittees that we've already had, but then also expanding that, whether that be to athletics or really any other specific detail that we possibly could, and involve as many people as we could. In my research on the topic, Alleghany and Clifton Forge in their consolidation, that's one of the things that the staff especially felt very good about. There was a lot of good communication from the central office on down, especially in that year leading up. And there are staff surveys to back that up. So, I appreciate Ms. Hale's comments and asking for a seat at the table, because again, like Mr. Baker said, I think that is exactly the type of spirit that we should all have as a community, understanding that no matter where we grew up, where our house sits right now, we all know people that live in one jurisdiction or the other. And I still go back to the thing that I said at the train depot back in August. We are more the same than we are different. And I haven't had anybody tell me yet that that's wrong. So I believe in that. The next, just because I have avoided it publicly, just because I didn't want to be sappy or seem congratulatory when I did not need to, but because it's being bannered about, at least in one area, I have to brag on Ms. Snead-Johnson. Her counterpart did not make it as far as she did, but she did. She served on some subcommittees that she shouldn't have had to have served on, but she did. But she did it because she wanted to represent Covington City Public Schools, and she knew that was part of her job. And she did it all along, expressing her opinions as they came up. She wasn't bossy. She wasn't overly assertive or aggressive, whatever the term we want to use. But she did not back down. She did exactly what you would want a superintendent to do. And I'll say it for the record, I'll keep saying it. If anybody thinks that her efforts, especially during consolidation, because we also had a global pandemic hit us right in the middle of that. And we also were tasked with reopening schools in a way that we had never done before. So as far as I'm concerned, Ms. Snead-Johnson not only did her job well, but she did it in the middle of a hurricane and a tornado at the same time.
Amen.
So I could not be prouder to call Ms. Snead-Johnson our division superintendent. And going forward, I've tried to take nothing that has been said about me, this board, Joint School Services, or as Mr. Baker said, any of my friends who happen to be on any of those committees or any of those bodies. But I'm going to have a hard time not taking criticism for Ms. Snead-Johnson's professionalism because that is absolutely cannot be assailed at all, any way, shape, or form. So thank you very much, Melinda. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.
I am going to say something.
You want-
Sorry. I think I'm loud enough.
Okay.
I just want to say, no hard feelings. I said this before, even with the joint committee, that I hope we all would remain friends. But I do feel like city council sold us out. I do. I think that, I know the things that the school needs, but I feel like if the city council was really for the school, they would have supported us in a different way. And I do feel like city council and Covington school system let our school system down based on lies. And it was lies. We don't know anything about a poll. Mr. Tucker wouldn't lie about the poll. We don't know anything. I mean, we had teachers come. And like I said before, they never got the answers. It was like they're pouring their heart out and we're nodding our heads. And I just can't, I'm not taking this personal because I prayed. I did. I said, Lord, I'm asking that your will be done. And I believe he let his will be done. But if we're going to do this, we're going to have to do it. Everybody's going to have to put their boxing gloves on and fight and make it work. But we have done this based on lies. And when you have a foundation based on lies, it normally doesn't work out. But as a school board member for Covington City Schools, I am going to give 100% to make sure until that time, like Ms. Snead-Johnson said, until that time, I will work to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can to represent the city schools. I know everyone had their own opinion, and like I said, I don't have hard feelings to what the decisions were. I sort of felt what was going to happen, but I just really think we missed out on something. We missed out on being real. I am very hurt.
Is that all for our comments, post-recognition delegations? Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
Can I clear something on my behalf?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Johnson, I hope you didn't misunderstand where I was going when I talked about the wordability and I got to your name first. What I meant was the board held you accountable to act, to do your job at the best of your ability. And then what I was going down the line saying you held the principals accountable, principal held the teachers accountable, and then the students, and then I was flopping all of that right back onto the board. I did not mean, if you heard it that way or if you took it that way, I'm sorry.
No hard feeling, Mr. Brown. I didn't take it that way. So thank you for.
I just,